to another episode of Into the West Comics. My name is Frank. We are no longer in black and white. We're in color tonight.
Oh yeah, it's real.
Sonny, how are you?
I'm good, brother. How about yourself?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Donovan is here.
I am here.
He is here.
Paul's here.
I'm here too.
Hot dog, baby.
Hot diggity dog.
What's up, boys?
Oh, man.
So we got another episode coming tonight.
Tonight at midnight. I don't know. Are you staying up to watch it?
Yeah, it's homework, man. I know you said you kind of didn't want to.
No, because I had it backwards because I was telling everybody that I wanted to watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier thing as like one viewing.
Right.
Because I was like trying to treat it as a Captain America movie.
Right.
But now I may have had to rethink that, and I think that this is the movie, the series that we should be watching. Binging.
So you wait 9 weeks and then just watch the whole thing.
You're not.
I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
going to
you're
do
not gonna
that.
do that.
But I kind of feel like I want to do that.
I don't think any of us here at this table are going to do that.
No, it sounds good on paper.
Not.
I think it's been pretty boring. I'm glad that they put 2 episodes out at once. Today or tonight rather should be the last of the corniness, and it should kind of ramp up into like an Avenger style,
Because Bethany said that they kind of changed the three each 3 episodes kind of have a different arc.
Right.
Sorry, I put my hand up. They have like a different tone, a different theme, and everything else as far as like
Sitcoms go?
yeah, I guess so.
I mean, that's not very interesting to me.
No. I'm
Not really.
No, what he means by like episode 1, 2, and 3 is going to be like act 1, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like I said, I think today it looks like the Full House kind of parody episode.
I think
it's Brady Bunch.
I think it's Brady Bunch.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll probably get the kids at the end. They'll probably
Yeah.
introduce like a little bit because like she's like rapidly growing or whatever.
They're going to go through all the eras. So like the first one was like the 50s with Dick Van Dyke Show. 60s was like Bewitched. Even the intro was like Bewitched.
So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that was
And
pretty cool.
The next one
It
is
was.
60s or 70s, which would be, I remember being a kid back then.
I don't remember being alive back then.
So 70s would
Probably
be
'cause
Brady.
you
I was a kid. then.
70s would be Brady Bunch. Now 80s, I'm thinking it would be. Was Full House more like late 80s, early 90s?
I think Full House was
Yeah.
in the middle of the 80s.
Yeah,
like
'cause
85,
80s is
86,
like-
87.
Like Growing Pains and like Who's the Boss, Tony Danza type stuff. So who knows what they're gonna do then? But I gotta tell you, gentlemen, I really, really, really love this show, and there are so many little things that are in this that I think if you weren't a hardcore reader,
Mhm.
You wouldn't know.
No, there's a
And
lot of
if
little
you-
nods.
If you are going to be watching this for the first time, have somebody next to you who knows this.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
Or do your Google research or YouTube research on people breaking these videos down so that you can understand. I caught a lot in the first 2 episodes,
So did I.
and I also missed a ton too. And I was like, "Oh my
I
gosh!"
missed so much. And I did the classic watch them, then watch the YouTube videos where it's like, did you see
Explain it.
this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I didn't. And apparently there's like a little like Galactus helmet in the opening of that Bewitched opening up in like
right.
the top, like in the, I don't know what you want to call it. But
Didn't catch
there was
that.
a bunch of stuff that I didn't see that I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then like the wine bottle with the House of M. And
Maison Dupree.
yeah, I didn't like it so much the first time I watched it, but I think I was really tired because I watched it at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And like I said, I waited a day, then watched them both again, and I enjoyed it a lot more. And but they were 2 very similar episodes. Like we were talking before, and I was like, it's really good that they dropped both of these at the same time
Yeah.
because week to week would have been like
I'd have
just,
been real
like,
pissed
yeah.
if I waited another week to get almost the exact same episode we just watched.
It's a slow burn, but if they did it week to week, it'd be a slow burn.
Very slow.
So do you think that would you have waited then to watch it?
I
If
don't-
you got the second episode tonight instead of last week?
Personally, no. I would have watched it. I really
He really liked
I
it.
really loved it. I mean, 1, I love those old shows. Like,
Mhm.
I really love those old shows. But 2, like, I love nuance and I love Easter eggs.
I hate nuance.
So for me, watching that, I go like, okay, they're trying to tell me something, and
Right.
it's a puzzle, and I want to try and figure out this puzzle as I'm watching it.
Yeah, I
The
like
the,
that part
the
too.
dialogue, some of the things that they're saying, the way they reach over, the way they interact, the way I mean, everything is, again, we talked about this, I think, last week of Marvel and intention.
Mhm.
This is perhaps their most egregious and most
Deliberate.
proactive and deliberate, forceful intention on us as far as what
Yeah.
we're supposed to see.
Yeah,
and what we're
everything
supposed
means
to get.
something.
without
It'll-
explaining
oh, yeah.
anything.
With it, and it'll all make sense by the end of this. It for sure will.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
I'm really enjoying the nuance of all of this. I think it's great, and I think it's different, and I think people should learn to accept, like, hey, like, you don't have to have everything all at once, because
Right.
I think in society now we have this microwave culture where, dude, you want to look something up, just look right on your
Just
phone.
look it
It's
up and
there.
find it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I want to watch a movie. Oh, you can watch that movie right
Right now.
now in your car driving wherever. But
You
it's
don't
like,
have to wait 5 seconds.
No, not
but
at all.
they're really making you wait for it, and I think that absence makes the heart grow fonder when you're waiting for things, and
Oh,
Let's
it'll
go.
yeah. So I think when all is said and done, and when this is all said, like, over, we're gonna be like, that was great,
I
and I'm
agree.
here for all of it.
I think it's not for what is it, like, not the average show for the average fan. I think it's like it's really easy for somebody to just click onto Disney Plus, know that there's something out, it seems pretty cool, turn it on, think it's awesome, and you don't really have to know the backstory, you know? I think it's better if you did, you know, but
I agree. I think there's like they do a really good job. Like Donovan was saying, there's something more behind everything that's going on. Like
Right.
there's
absolutely.
obvious stuff like the guy over the radio that breaks the reality kind of, or the helicopter in the bushes that has color.
oh, it's it has a logo on it. It's a
The
sword
sword,
logo.
Yep.
Do you know? Oh yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Or to little things that maybe people who know more what's going on notice that this is also something I'm going to admit I didn't notice the first time. I had to watch the video. Did you miss this? And I did.
Yeah.
So the cul-de-sac they're in starts off very bare bones, and the next episodes there's much more going on, much more of a neighborhood, and it's like showing that Scarlet Witch Wanda is building this reality as time
Right.
goes along. She's populating it more.
Right.
She's making it seem more like home and more entrenched. And anytime something starts to break that, she tries to reel it back. And then even Agnes, she seems like one character that kind of knows it's not real,
100%.
because when she has that helicopter and she's like looking at it, Agnes snaps her out of it. She's like, I don't want her to break. I don't want her.
Right.
I want her attention on me. I want her.
Here's
attention
the
on me."
star of the show, you know,
Mhm.
comes in trying to
But
get her
they're doing
attention.
that to each other,
Oh yeah.
and she does that with the other characters. Wanda does that with the other characters
Mhm.
in other segments of the show. At the end of the second episode, we got to talk about the guy in the beekeeper costume that has the sword logo on the back of his jacket that climbs out of the manhole, and she says no.
Everything rewinds.
Everything rewinds.
Yep.
She's trying to control
She's
this.
controlling.
She's controlling this reality, and okay.
We
So-
we hear over who's doing this to you? Who's doing this to you? So it's not herself, I think. I think she might have maybe started it, but there's something behind.
She can't break.
I'm doubling down, man. I'm telling you,
Dude, I'm here with you.
Mephisto is controlling all of this.
100%.
He's taking full advantage
He's-
of what's going on.
100%.
She's crazy. Oh, I'm gonna extract everything I can. I mean, it's like the comics in the '80s, like the
Well,
whole Vision Wanda run.
He's looking
that
for the
happened in
chaos
80s.
magic.
He's looking. Yes, thank you. He is looking for the chaos magic.
You know?
And Agnes, who I believe is Agatha the Witch,
Yep.
is
100%
trying to make sure
You're
that
right.
she doesn't get out, so that they can get as much chaos magic
Mhm.
as possible.
out
can.
of this thing as possible. So she's very self-aware of what's going on, and she's trying to make sure that she's okay. Everything's okay, right?
Mhm.
You're so good. So Mephisto's got to show up. I mean, even in episode 2, when she looks over and she says the devil's in the details, then she goes, "That's not the only.
That's not
place
the
he
only
is."
thing.
Yeah.
You
I was
know?
like, come on.
For anybody that knows what's up, even I was watching like Variant Comics and New Rockstars. They were doing like a
Yeah,
like
shout
a
out to
reaction-
New Rockstars. They
New-
crush
it
dude.
all the time.
Eric Voss, Philip
Eric-
Molino, those guys are good.
Awesome, dude. When they were doing the live reaction, it's like the devil's in the details. His face lights up, and I'm like, that's how I felt. That's exactly how I
Yeah.
felt.
Same
you know?
here.
So, what about those ads that we see within the show?
So
Oh,
cool.
I loved it though. My wife didn't pick up when they put the toaster down and the Stark reactor went off. I picked that right away. I went, "Oh, that's Iron Man sound."
I
And
didn't
she
even
goes,
think about that.
"Oh my gosh, you're so right. It is." And then the little red dot came on, and then
So
that
the
was
way
really good.
I read that was there's so many different things you can take from
Oh,
this.
for sure.
So in Age of Ultron, what does Wanda and Peter talk
Oh.
about? They were in the building, the
bomb.
crumbled building, and for a bunch of days they sat there with the blinking bomb that said Stark
the Stark
Industries on it,
bomb.
and they're like, when is Tony Stark
right.
gonna kill us?
I totally forgot about
And
that.
that's what that toaster reminds me of. It says Stark Industries on it. That little red
It's the
light
bomb
is
beeping.
blinking and blinking, and that's what that is. That's the
On
subconscious.
the
maybe of everything it's
wallpaper in
creating.
the house is an outline
Yes.
of Sokovia
The
and
castle, which
and that castle.
in episode 2 they showed on the
It's
wall.
on the wall.
I
didn't
asked my
notice
wife,
that.
I go, doesn't the wallpaper look really weird to you? She's like, no. I was like, something's weird
Something's
about that
up with
wallpaper.
that.
And then, of course, I go YouTube it, and it's sure enough, it's the Sokovian castle where Strucker was holding the twins and extracting the Mind Stone to make them who they were. And I was like, dadgummit.
I think speaking of that guy, would you say Strucker? Is
Strucker,
his
it was
name?
the watch.
Was
that
the watch, and then there was a Hydra
Hydra,
logo
yeah. That's
in
what
the
I
watch.
noticed.
There's a Hydra logo, and okay, so this is my deep dive. I gotta
Go
get
for
this-
it.
I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
get
you're
this
ready for
over
this.
with
Get it in. Get it in.
as fast as I can because I was reading some stuff online and trying to connect dots. Okay, there's something specific about the time that's on that watch. The time they're showing on that watch in that commercial for Von Strucker swatches or watches they're selling is 2:42. Okay, I want you to remember that number.
It's a comic.
Okay.
Okay.
This guy's like David Blaine.
It's a
So
comic.
you guys look at in advertising, they show watches really quick. I know that because I had a buddy that sold watches for a living. They put the hands to look like to be at the 10 and the 10,
Yeah.
so it looks like the watch is smiling at you.
Oh.
They're sending you a subconscious message. Okay.
Oh, okay.
The 242 is significant because of the number 242. There is no Vision issue number 242.
Okay.
There's no Scarlet Witch issue 242. But there is a Mighty Avengers 242.
And what happens in Avengers 242?
I'm so glad you asked, Donovan. In Avengers 242, Vision comes back to life with a message of the one that is to come that's going to be bringing destruction to all the Avengers.
Who is it, Frank? Tell
And
us.
he is the big bad for the next phase. And it's not Mephisto. Mephisto is the big bad for these series.
Right.
Right. There's
For
someone
Loki.
behind him.
There's someone behind him
Oh, yeah.
manipulating things.
Oh, yeah.
And he's the one that's observing. And he's the one that's watching.
Oh, yeah.
And he's the one that's monitoring all
yeah.
this stuff. It's the Beyonder.
Ooh.
And the Avengers series, the next Avengers movie, is going to be Secret Wars.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it fits. It fits correct. Like how everything is mapping out the way that it's going to. It fits exactly like that synopsis, man. I think
would
you're
be-
onto something.
It would
I
be
think you are
trippy.
too.
If this works out, it would be trippy. Because we know that we got like the stained glass thing in the Loki trailer.
Mhm.
We got a little bit of
There was a
stained
devil
gla-
in
There's
there.
a devil in there, okay? So we know that Mephisto is involved in these series in
Yeah.
some capacity.
100%.
We don't know if Disney really wants to make that leap to making a devil type character their villain.
Right.
We don't know. They might.
They might.
They could. But I think that they're trying to have a lot of villains on a bunch of different avenues so that it's not just relying on the shoulders of Thanos like they did in the previous phases. That They're trying to create a lot of different avenues for villains.
Well, that would
That's my
actually,
theory.
I think that's a great theory. And I think
That's
it makes
great.
even more
That is
sense. It
pretty
lends
cool.
to it. Who was the villain that was a through line for the first 3 phases?
Loki.
Thanos. Well, I'm
Yeah,
talking about
Loki.
like the big bad
Oh, okay.
overlooking everything.
Sure.
And so he's talking about there's going to be one big bad who's like the through line for the TV series, Mephisto. And then going back into the movies,
Like Mephisto's going to be answering to somebody.
and you'll find that out in the TV series, and it's the Beyonder who's the through line for all the new Phase 4 movies. I think you're right on the nose with that.
It could be. And we know that there's a guy that already shot scenes playing the Beyonder and they were cut.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan Filoni played the Beyonder.
Oh wow, that's pretty
And
interesting.
all of his clips were,
Scrapped.
they were scrapped.
Huh.
And I think there's got to be a reason
gonna
why
use
they
it
would
for
go,
something
they
else.
would go back to it.
Yeah, they're using it for something else.
They've got to.
Wow. I was thinking, maybe, man, I hope this Fantastic Four brings in some Silver Surfer. I was thinking maybe the next big bad that we need to worry about would be Galactus. You know what I mean?
It could be.
I feel like the Beyonder is way more something to worry about than Galactus. Be really interesting to see. That'd be really, really interesting to see. I think what's going on right now in the King in Black kind of shows a little bit something that's kind of going on that.
It's
type of realm.
crazy, guys. I mean, we haven't spent a lot of time talking about King of Black, but it's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, we're basically at the halfway point. We're just over the halfway point.
Mm-hmm.
King in Black is coming to a close. There was an announcement yesterday with Donny Cates and Stegman that they're going to end their Venom run,
Yeah.
like 3 more issues.
Yeah.
So basically, it's going to coincide with King in Black ending and the Venom run ending, and then what's next for Donny Cates and Stegman, we don't know.
Yeah, because this project was so huge. It's taken up so many times in so many different avenues. You don't know what's going to happen next. I think the writing is crazy. I think the cool thing about Marvel, it's a little bit more out there than DC. It's like, well, what if there's a multiversal power that can be taken over by another bigger power that can do this, but Iron Man can beat it? You know what I mean? DC is a little, I mean, the Trigon and everything running around, it's not as out there. But this story is doing a really good job at bringing crazy, multiversal, incredibly strong people, and Nola's just smacking the crap out of everybody. I mean, just recently, All-Father version of Thor got smacked, okay? Sentry got smacked, okay? Iron Man has a symbiote iron suit, has a dragon, and is getting smacked, okay? So there's one person that shows up at the end that they talk about, that there's if there's up, there's down, if there's dark, there's light. There must be someone out there channeling the opposite of the void.
Right.
There's someone out there controlling the power of light. And then you hear a voice, you read a voice, and it's a character that you didn't think and you've been counting out for so long, and they come in, and I think it's going to change the way that this is playing. So this story's been real good. I've been keeping up on it a little bit just because I saw Sentry getting smacked. I'm like, he pulls, I think the other part of Sentry is called the Void. He
It is.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
pulls it out of him, and he's like, you're a mere man. I'm a god. You know, so.
I have to read this.
Yeah. I don't want to
I
like
do
get too
too.
much into it because I
King
start
of
getting
King
stoked.
of Black's been really good so
It's
far.
been real good.
You kind of touched on a little bit about some DC movies. We want to talk about the DC movie that we've been talking about
Oh
lately.
man.
That they're finally going to put together. It was going to be a mini-series. It got a reboot, whatever you want to call it, relaunch. He's shot new scenes. He brought in other actors and did some new content to add on to a film that came out a few years ago that wasn't really well received. We're talking about, of course, the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Justice League Snyder Cut. It is now going to be a 4-hour film. And how do you guys feel about when we get to HBO Max? I think it's in March.
March 26th.
Yeah, we're going to be watching the Snyder Cut. How excited are you guys to see it? I want to.
Boys.
So I feel like I have a very different opinion on this than everyone at this table.
I think so too.
I
You
am.
always have a different
I
opinion
am.
than everybody at this table.
I'm excited to see what it is.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be good.
Oh,
I think it's going to be differently bad. But
differently bad.
but I think it's going to be
Whoa.
more of one singular vision, and it's going to be what Snyder wanted it to be, even more so now. I don't like the way he portrays the characters. I don't like his Superman. From what I've seen from the trailers, Darkseid doesn't have to be a hulking gray villain, and maybe he won't be. Maybe they'll add color to him. In the comics, he's blue with seeping red eyes and
Right.
black, and it looks so cool, but he looks kind of flat in the trailers to me.
Right.
Maybe they'll change that. I don't know.
I'm sure.
But I am excited to see where it goes, but I have low expectations. So I'll probably be pleasantly surprised at the end of the day, but
Well,
I'm
It's probably
just
gonna be good, and you're gonna be like, oh, nice.
yeah, hopefully. I don't want that to get confused. I don't not want it to be good.
Right.
I just kind of
Not
have no reason to
expecting so
believe it will be.
But we already know that it's not going to be connected to anything because
Right.
he's not
Mm-mm.
doing another film. They're not giving him Justice League 2
Mm-hmm.
based on how this goes.
Well, Kevin Smith, what was it? What's his podcast? It's like Fat Man and Robin or something.
Fat
like
Man on Batman.
Batman on Batman. He was talking about, from his source, he heard that the ending is a cliffhanger, and that it ends in a point where they could do something else.
I love Donovan's reaction.
He's like, what? You know?
Ooh, cool.
So
Cool.
it'd be interesting. I think I hate Ezra Miller as the Flash. I'm not so stoked on the Cyborg character. I like Batfleck. I like Henry Cavill. We got Gal Gadot's performance in the last one. It's kind of whatever. I'm interested into if we get a Green Lantern.
Mhm.
We are getting Jared Leto's Joker.
Martian Manhunter.
We're getting Martian Manhunter.
That I'm excited about.
We're getting Slade Wilson. So do you think that they're just packing this with characters just so we're okay with what's happening?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I think so.
I hate to be the Debbie Downer about this, but
Go ahead.
it seems like Zack Snyder's doing what he's always done. He gets a project and he's like, I want to take everything I can do and do this. Like with Batman versus Superman, instead of just taking one thing and making it that, he was like, I want to do the Dark Knight Returns. I want to do Justice League movie. I want to do the Death of Superman. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do
You don't need all
All in one.
and it seems like he's doing that again.
Just doing too much.
Yeah.
It could be because for me, I picture this as like how the Suicide Squad movie kind of came out to me. It's just too many people in one. You're trying to get all these
Right.
origin stories and all this stuff, and they're gonna have to retell a bunch of stuff in this new Snyder cut. Do I care that it's 4 hours? It could be 4.5. I'm fine with that.
I don't care about that.
Yeah, I
either.
don't care about that. I binge TV shows, longer than
Yeah,
that. You know
I
what I
mean,
mean? So I don't care for
The
that.
time length doesn't really matter much
No.
as
No,
far as
no.
For
And
the
we're not-
average watcher, it could probably be a turnoff.
But we're not sitting in a theater watching it. You know what I mean?
Well, you're at home. Pause it. Go eat something.
Exactly.
Go do whatever you got to do.
Exactly.
I'm not looking forward to this. I'm with Paul.
Yes.
I'm not looking forward to this at
Yes.
all. I'll watch it because I'm a comic book fan, and
Right.
these are my stories. Like DC is that's my it's everything to me. It's,
Yeah, I like DC more than Marvel, but Marvel does such an incredibly better job at doing things.
But Marvel Studios doesn't have their fans, or sorry, their cult members going, release the so and so cut, release
The
this
Taika
cut.
Waititi cut.
They're not doing that. Do you know why? Because the stories are good already. There's no
Yeah.
cut that needs to be released.
No, they're fine already.
So these are, I'm so sorry, release the Snyder Cut people, but I'm coming after you. You need to get a grip. You need to find therapy. Have some family around you, because it's not going to be that great. And to say that Batman versus Superman was a cinematic masterpiece, yeah, it's your minds, guys.
Well, and that's the
wasn't that
thing. It's the Snyder Cut people have already decided it's a good movie.
Oh, for sure.
It has not come out yet, and they've already decided it's a good movie.
Oh, for
Listen,
sure.
anytime. Okay, so Martian Manhunter is supposed to be played by General Swanwick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like. Isn't
Right.
wait?
Okay.
I like the guy, but I just don't fit.
Right.
Like,
No, the actor's great.
But like, where does he fit in anywhere?
But like, okay. All right, sure.
Why?
So do we get a whole backstory behind that? If he's Martian Manhunter?
Mhm.
No.
You gonna put that in? Okay, so Cyborg, we never got to see his
There's going to be a
football
new email
accident.
for him. You know, all the emails.
Yeah, yeah. We didn't see his football accident, so I'm sure it's going to be his football accident that he has. It shows him, all that stuff. So we have all that. In the original cut, we never saw Flash with his dad too much.
Mm-hmm.
In Justice League was a very, very brief.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But then
Showing
there's
one
a
person.
part where in the trailer where they show where he's like touching the glass coming out of the
Mhm.
thing. They never showed that. So what is that?
There's a lot of footage
There's
that they're going to be able
so
to use.
much stuff that they're
Mhm.
putting in there, and I think it's just going to overwhelm people when they watch this. And the fact that Warner Brothers has already come out and said this isn't canon, so then why are we releasing this? Why is this being put out? Why are we feeding this into the subconscious of people? And that's the thing that I don't understand about Warner Brothers is, again, intention. They're not intentionally doing anything, and
Well,
I
because they're
could
missing
be
a Kevin
wrong.
Feige, man.
I don't think they
No,
understand it either, though.
They're missing somebody that's like, all of these different pathways aren't going to connect at the end. You're doing all these different things, and now it's like,
it's supposed to be Jeff Johns, but
come on now.
He's
Uh,
got his hands in too many things to focus
No.
on.
Correct.
and
Like,
Walter
yeah.
Hamada, like these guys are supposed to be the guys that are doing it, but they haven't delivered on anything.
No.
But Marvel has this connectivity to where they can be telling you one story, and you trust the next film to pick up where something left off to continue the story.
Bro, they're talking
And
about
DC has they make one movie, and they say we're just gonna swing, we're just gonna go for it. We're gonna try to tell you this whole story, and we're gonna catch up to what Marvel was doing. And they're like, nah,
there's
it
no way
won't make
possible.
sense.
In Shang-Chi, they're talking about, I was reading, all you got to do is put Iron Fist on one of the tournament cards, and boom, you connected that.
I've always had this like really secret fantasy of wanting to write my own Superman movie because like I love Superman. He's not my favorite. Batman is my favorite, but Superman is a close second. And I always thought it would be interesting to see how Clark Kent grows up. And I had this scene written in my head where Clark as a teenager goes to Gotham and they go to a field trip to Wayne Enterprises. and Clark is sitting there and he's watching a young 18, 19-year-old Bruce Wayne welcome the other students from Metropolis and welcome to my father's company and everything that we've ever done, blah, 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 blah. But then like Clark sees through him and he sees his heart's beating super fast and he sees like he's sweating and he's like, this guy's nervous somehow. He knows something's up. Like, but that's the only time we ever see that interaction is like we see Bruce Wayne in this Superman movie and then Superman grows up. We see this cool story that happens.
Right.
And then I always thought like at the end, like what if Superman, like in a post-credit scene, flies back into his window and then he's like going to take his suit off and then he puts his head up and he goes, I thought you'd never come. We need to talk. And then Batman comes out of the shadows, cut to black.
Pay this man some money.
Wow.
I mean,
Get at him.
just stuff like that.
Someone
And
sign this man.
It's
Do you know what I mean? It's
small
just like
little
little
details.
things like that that leads you to the next movie. So then it's like, oh, we're going to get a Batman movie.
Right.
So we're going to see everything in the inverse of that happens. And I just don't understand like they have such a great opportunity. And there's talks of J.J. Abrams possibly wanting to come on and direct a Superman movie, right?
That'd
And
be
direct
really
a Superman movie.
He's supposed
Like
to be involved in some series that DC is going to do with HBO Max, but I can't remember what the series was.
I know that Lois and Superman is coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I just think that they have such a great opportunity to do wonderful things with these characters, and they don't have to give it all to us at once. We won't have to try and sit here and figure out a 4-hour movie.
Right.
Even Scorsese's like, oh, that might be a little too long for me. Okay, like that's just a little much. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, no, I had to watch The Gentleman in like two different
Irishman?
Irishman, The Gentleman, The Irishman.
The Gentleman.
You were being a gentleman.
I was.
You watched it in two settings.
No, for me though, like I said earlier, if it's 4.5, like I'm gonna be fine. You know, I'm still gonna be sitting there trying to dissect everything. If it comes out at midnight, I'll probably try and stay up till 4 o'clock and watch it.
Then
you know?
text us and let us know how your brain is working.
Yeah,
because it's
afterwards.
gonna be much.
It's gonna be a lot.
You know
It's
the
gonna be a
main
lot.
thing I want them to fix in that movie? Reshoot everything Ezra Miller's in and have him run like a normal human being. Nobody runs like that.
You don't like that when he's like
He runs like a man who's never run in his entire life. He runs like he's ice skating.
fastest
Like
man
he's
alive
never
who never
run.
ran before.
Like I watched the clip from the post credits where he races Superman, and he starts off like he's like
he's
this.
like
And I'm
you ready?
Nobody
Don't
runs
ever do
like
that.
that, fool. Like what are you doing,
No,
dog?
Do
Stop.
people run like that in the Olympics?
No,
No.
not
They
even
go
like
across
that.
their body.
No, dude, I hate it.
I don't run a lot.
You ever
so I
seen
don't
Usain
know.
Bolt
yeah,
looking
I'm
like
with
this?
Frank. I'm not much of a runner. I don't know if you can tell that I'm not a runner.
I'm not impressed by Ezra Miller's character and how he is off camera. He's like unique being, you know.
He's a
Very
unique,
eclectic. Very eclectic.
very eclectic
He's a
person.
unique being.
So his I don't
Not
know.
a human, a being.
A being.
Yeah, I have no hope for this. I really don't.
Jesus.
I know that there's going to be a lot of
Brutal.
fans out there that are like, oh, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen. And I'm like, oh. And then, like, you sit there and go, wait, it was better than Endgame? You're like, oh, I could think of 10 movies that were better than Endgame. You're like,
I hate those
Really?
people. I hate those people.
really? I watched the Portal scene with my son last night, and he was like, oh, Daddy, look, it's all of them. And he hasn't seen any of them.
Shut up! You don't
He's
even know.
4. And I'm like,
You don't know.
son,
You don't know how important this
you're
is.
so right. And I'm not a Marvel guy. Like, that's what these
Right.
movies have done.
Yeah.
Oh, DC, get it together.
Well, we spend a lot of time. We just spent a lot of time comparing DC and Marvel. So let's go ahead and do that.
Oh,
We're going to take two different trilogies, one that's Marvel based and one that isn't within this DC universe. Or it's really in the Nolan verse. It's not really a DC.
Yeah.
DC
I was waiting for him
yeah,
to
no.
smile when
Deal.
you said Nolan.
He smiles if I say Nolan.
Look, he's
Yeah.
giggling right now.
He's very happy if I mention Nolan.
I have a relationship with Nolan.
We're talking about two.
Is it good or bad?
It's a ghost relationship.
I mean-
We're having.
it's
Can you tell from my smile?
I don't know. I
We're
don't know
gonna
if you're ready to
talk
talk
about-
crap about him or not.
two trilogies in particular:
Batman
the Batman trilogy, the
And-
Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy.
and the Captain America trilogy.
Yeah.
We're talking about First Avenger, Winter Soldier, Civil War versus Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and Dark Rises, guys.
Who you got?
I want to know what you have. to
Yeah,
say.
I want to know what you have to say too.
Ooh, okay, so if we're doing Batman Begins versus the First Avenger, I think I'm definitely pulling Batman. First Avenger was a little corny to me. You know, I wasn't really too stoked on it. it introduces us to two separate heroes that, I don't know, different backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. But the movies and the scripts that they lay out for the pathways for everybody else is completely different. If we're talking about the next Batman, what is it? Dark Knight versus Winter Soldier. Dark Knight wins, man. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. I think
And Winter Soldier's really good.
Winter Soldier's
Yeah,
my
Winter
favorite
Soldier's
Captain America
very
movie.
good.
I think I like it better than Civil War because it's more of a Captain America movie.
Mhm.
I think the Winter Soldier is such a badass character, but we got Joker in the other one. So point goes over to Batman. I
Mhm.
think for Civil War versus Dark Knight Rises, I'm going back over to Civil War. So I'm at like a 2 versus 1. I think Civil War was awesome. We got a lot of characters. I think Tom Hardy did an amazing job at Bane, but I'm way more stoked to see everybody else in Civil War. The styles are completely different, how these movies were shot and how the stories were told.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
But for me, I think I'm 2-1 Nolanverse.
Okay.
Boys.
Do you want me to go?
Yes.
It's the Nolan trilogy. It's better
Okay.
than Civil War. Not Civil War, but the
Captain
Captain America. I really love the Captain America trilogy. I really love it. I love First Avengers.
Yeah.
I love the feeling that I love how it makes me feel when I watch it. The little guy who gets picked on becomes the hero,
Mhm.
and his whole arc with Peggy and how he treats his guy. Like, it's just wholesome. It's
What
good,
about the-
wholesome
What
storytelling.
about the emo kid that just lost his parents? I mean, come on now, Batman.
Yeah, I'm
You're
getting
like,
there.
"Yeah."
I'm getting there. I'm just talking about the whole.
Like
The whole
little
listen,
guy.
Batman is my favorite superhero of all time. Like, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I remember the feeling that I had. I was 16 years old when Dark Knight or when Batman Begins came out, and I watched every promotion, every featurette, I read everything going into this
course.
movie, and I was like, I can't wait for this. And I remember I was like, this is going to be like year one. This is going to be like Batman year one.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it, and the part when in Batman Begins where he gets Rachel out of the asylum and he calls the bats in,
And
and they
jumps
all
down
come in.
and
I'm like, this is. I had tears rolling down my face because I went, this is year one, and even the color palette of it was year one,
Mhm.
and Jim Gordon's like, and then with Flash, although albeit they looked very different.
right.
It was that story,
It's
and
that
they
same
adapted
feel.
it from year one, and that was one of my favorite books that
That's awesome.
I'd ever read, and I was like, this is so good. Winter Soldier, it's a great spy movie. There's a great
Yeah.
like little
Yeah.
ooh, this is kind of fun, but
Mhm.
you're talking about The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight. I
Yeah.
saw it 11 times in theaters, 4 of them in IMAX.
I saw it in the theaters a lot.
So
too.
that's
saw-
how
I-
The Dark Knight made all its money.
Yeah.
I will
Dudes like
say that
us.
most of those showings, I did not pay for a ticket because all my friends knew that I was a huge Batman fan. So they were like, I'll pay for your ticket. Just come with us. I was like, all right,
All right,
cool.
That's the way
I'll
to
go.
do it.
But the things that we see in Dark Knight are not only like rivaled in comic book movies, but in film altogether.
Oh yeah.
The sequence, I mean, the car chase sequence, there's no music going on in that whole thing. The
Yeah.
tension that you feel. I remember being in the theater when he goes underneath that trunk and that semi flips over, the
Oh.
reaction, the
Oh,
air
dude.
getting sucked out of the room when that happened, and him, I mean, all of it, dude.
When he's
all of
riding the
it.
bike and he goes up the wall and
Yeah.
it spins. Oh,
The psychology of the Joker.
he's an amazing character.
The psychology and what the things that he's talking about. He's like, I'm like a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do if I got one.
Right.
He's the only honest character in that movie.
Yeah.
He's the only one that is the truest character in that movie, and yet he's using it to be bad. And the psychology that Batman has to battle at the end, he was like, you know, Harvey can't be that for those men, but I can be that for those men. Like he's
Yo,
the one
his
that's like,
impressions are
like,
so on point. all
he
the
showed
time.
that he could be the hero. He could be the hero that everyone didn't deserve, and that
Right.
whole thing. I mean, what about being a hero is so important? It's sometimes being a hero doesn't necessarily mean it's going to look like what you think it's going to look like.
Right,
Sometimes
right.
it means taking the blame for something
Right.
that wasn't your fault
Right.
Yep.
to protect the city. Come on, like what the heck?
Mm.
And then Dark Knight Rises, I actually like personally for me, I love a good conclusion. Dark Knight Rises, like it was my favorite of the 3. Just because it
Wow.
wraps everything, and that part, and it was the first time we ever see Batman in film fight during the daytime, when they're
True.
walking down Fifth Avenue.
Yep.
And
was a
even that whole
badass
lead
scene.
up, like when he's like, I'm not asking you to march down Fifth Avenue in your dress blues. I'm just asking you to be with us. And the guy walks down in his dress blues and he fights with him.
Mhm.
And everyone's fighting. And then you see that Bane and Batman are with each other. And then like Batman is so
Yeah.
much faster than Bane. And everything about, I mean, and the way they wrapped it up with Jim Gordon,
It's a good
when
scene.
he was like, he's like, the people, they have to know who you are. They have to know who their hero was. And he goes, a hero can be anybody. A hero could be as simple as a man
And
putting
puts
a coat on a little boy at his darkest moment. And he went, Bruce, what?
he's like,
Dude,
oh,
I am choking up thinking about it right
Yeah.
now. Like, you
good.
got to be kidding me, dude.
So good.
It's so good. And then, you know, Michael King go, every day I take a vacation, I get a Fernie Branca. And I imagine you sitting at that table with a lovely girl. And I'll give you a note, you get me one back. And I sit cheerio, wrapping her arm around you, cross around these holes. Like, and then at the end, he's sitting at the table and he does, his
does the
dream
nod.
comes true. Come on, people. But yeah, Civil War's cool. But Civil War's a lot of fun. But no, it's
Wow.
I really love those Captain America movies. Like I really love them. But like
man, I quit.
the way that Dark Knight
This dude.
trilogy made me feel afterwards, like it was everything I always wanted in Batman movies. It was everything. It was everything.
I hope y'all have some to lead up
Paul.
on.
I should have gone before him.
I was gonna say, leave him for last from now on.
I have nothing to say. I don't even know what to say. Paul, please.
So
Did you like Captain America a little bit?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to go off on
No,
tangents.
no,
I do.
no.
I do
We-
mean to go off on
We
tangents.
appreciate that. Watch the TV.
Oh, yeah.
no. Yeah, Sonny's already afraid of it.
I'm like,
So my answer is also the Nolan movies. I was gonna talk about how
I was, but
but I mean, no. So I mean, the probably nerdiest thing I could ever say is I've read pretty much every major Batman story arc since like the 70s,
nice.
and I've never ever felt like this character was represented in a way that the comic books do, except for when watching the Dark Knight,
The Nolan verse.
Batman Begins, and The Dark Knight Rises. And it's like it's a perfect example of you don't have to follow these stories that they're based on to a T,
No.
but you take elements from 'em. Batman Begins is it's basically year one with some long Halloween stuff,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then
Right.
The Dark Knight is the long Halloween and the Killing Joke.
Yes.
And they crush it, and they hit all the notes without making it the exact same story.
Mm-hmm.
And then The Dark Knight Rises is Dark Knight Returns and Nightfall, and they kill it. I mean, that scene when Batman first loses to Bane, I was a little, I don't remember how old I was when I watched it, but regardless, I was legitimately upset. I was like,
Oh yeah.
my guy is getting crushed right now,
Oh, yeah.
and there's nothing he can do.
Darkness is your ally.
And he's helpless and he's broken in many more ways than one. And it's like, so in Nightfall, Bane knows he can't beat Batman in a straight up fight. He
Right.
breaks everyone out of Blackgate and Arkham. Batman spends all day, all week rounding them all up,
Right.
gets home, and in that time, Bane is so smart that he's figured out he's Bruce Wayne.
Of course.
Batman gets home, takes the cowl
Cowl.
off, and Bane's there to break his
Break
back.
his back.
And that's how that happens. In this, Batman is broken from so many different things. Bane still breaks everyone out of Blackgate and notices that Batman is a broken man, figures out who he is,
Yep.
does the same thing in a different way. And then at the end, Batman comes back and he's better than ever, which
course.
mirrors the mutant fight in The Dark Knight Returns. Batman goes and fights him, tries to beat him with brute strength,
Can't
and he
do
gets
it.
whooped, gets smacked.
Can't do it.
He thinks about it, he recovers, he comes back and smacks the mutant, just absolutely destroys him. And he does the same thing to Bane. And it was so nice to see those elements come into a movie and just be everything that I ever wanted to see in a Batman movie. And I mean, I obviously have gripes about it. Like, there's things that don't make sense. Like, how does he get away from a 6-mile radius bomb when he jumps out at the last second? But who cares? I don't care about that.
He's
But
Bruce Wayne.
the Captain America trilogy
Batman,
is
dude.
also really great. I think I agree with you. Captain America, the first Avenger, is great, but it's very corny.
Yeah.
And it's like
like a-
very formulaic. And it's like he starts here, he does this, he does that, he does this. And it has its good moments, but at the end of the day, at the end, like, there's no reason he has to crash that ship into the ice and not get out of it, really.
No.
But I still liked Captain America, First Avenger, and the Winter Soldier is actually my favorite Actually, I think the Winter Soldier is closer to the Dark Knight for me than Civil War is to the Dark Knight Rises. But I love all three of them. I'd watch them if you. I'd
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
put them on right now, I'm gonna sit down and watch,
watch
them.
maybe all three of them. I don't know.
They're
But,
good movies.
they're
They're
good
really
movies.
good movies.
They are
It's just
really
hard
good.
to compare to masterpieces.
Yeah, we're talking about comparing between the two. It's kind of hard. So for me, for Dark Knight, it's. I'm sorry if you're done. I don't know
No,
if you're
I'm
done. Are you sure? Okay. Dark Knight is for me. It's probably. It's one of my favorite movies.
We were talking about this when
Yeah.
earlier.
I think it's one of my favorite.
Comic
films.
book or not, right?
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
like movie period.
I
you know?
think
What's Captain America: Civil War does? What Civil War does is it's connecting the Avengers films.
Right.
It's telling you a big part or a big piece of the overall story. You're getting your whole DC connectivity that we've seen in these 3 Batman films. That doesn't happen in any other DC films, really. It hasn't happened. Okay. For me, growing up, I was like 6 years old when I saw Empire Strikes Back in theaters. I remember my parents pulled me out of school to take me to see Empire
So
Strikes
awesome.
Back.
Such good parents.
Yeah.
That
right.
is like a.
I hope
it's-
to do that
and
with my kid one day when a movie comes
I
out.
I'm about to say, like, I took my son out of school to take him to see Dark Knight.
So I'm saying,
Awesome, as you should.
So for
That's
for me, I would always say,
round of
like,
applause
there's
for Dad. huh?
there's movies. Okay, there's
Okay.
movies that you see, and you see those movies, and for me, I always compare a movie as far as like the feeling that it gives you.
Yeah.
For me, it was always Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Okay. And for me, I got yelled at by Jonathan's mom and grandmother and all kinds of other people.
Everybody else.
You took an 8-year-old boy to see Dark Knight.
Yes.
Da, 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 da,
Hell
da,
yeah,
and-
absolutely.
And my whole
100%
thing
yes.
was,
Yeah.
it's his empire.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
For him, it was empire. For him, he was like, this is the most amazing thing I've
Yeah, he's
ever
probably
seen.
this is the coolest thing ever.
This is the coolest movie I've ever seen because it just keeps coming and coming. Nothing can equate to that feeling.
No.
As you see a movie like that for the first
Yeah,
time.
that movie does not slow down.
No.
It does not slow down.
No, it's
And
it's an action packed
So
movie.
for me, I mean, as far as you comparing Captain America movies, I think the Captain America movies are great.
They're
Yeah.
awesome.
I love Chris Evans as Steve Rogers.
Awesome.
I love the Captain America movies. But I mean, I'm obviously going to go with the Batman films because of that feeling that just Nolan films in particular, but those movies, it's a perfect match with Nolan to be working with this type of character and that type of material to make those movies. They were so good.
Yeah, they're and I want to one more honorable mention about Dark Knight Rises when he's getting out of the prison, and he says, "No rope. You have to climb by yourself."
Right.
Mhm.
Like, and then he's like, and then he gets to the guy, and he's like, "No rope," and everyone's
Rise,
like, "What the
rise,
heck?" And everyone's
rise,
chanting as he gets out. And when he gets to the top, bats fly out.
of course,
That's
duh.
Bats
That's it.
fly out. You're like, oh,
You're like, oh, he's back.
That's one of those things where if you really overthink that prison thing, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But the whole idea behind it and what actually goes on
Right.
and
What
what
it
it means,
means,
it
yeah.
overrides it all. So
Right.
it doesn't have to make perfect sense.
Right.
But I wanted to say I think that The Dark Knight is as close to objectively being the best superhero movie as any movie gets.
I said that earlier. We were having
Yeah.
we were having a beer before we got here, and I was like, it if not the best, one of the best superhero movies, comic book movies, origin stories. It's up there in one of the better films I've seen.
Of all time.
You know what I mean?
So we can all agree that Dark Knight is the best comic book movie ever.
I'll vote yeah.
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 Okay, so what's the second best comic book movie ever?
Endgame.
Endgame?
I say Infinity War.
Yeah, I'd say
Infinity
Infinity
War.
War,
And I'm
too.
going Endgame on this one for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just for the fact of how everything gets tied in, it was a great ending. You know.
And then for me, if we're going as deep as 3, the original Superman movie is the best portrayal of Superman we have ever seen.
Which
It's
one, like Man of Steel?
No, like
19
78.
Oh,
78.
oh,
78.
Christopher Reeve.
It's goofy, it's campy, but it's freaking Superman.
He's a
And
great
that's
Clark Kent.
The closest we've ever seen to seeing comic book Superman on the big
I
screen.
know. I wish we had
know,
that for
man.
Man of Steel because abilities wise, Man of Steel is more what we're used to in the
Mhm.
comics,
Yeah.
but character wise, it's Richard Donner's films in the 70s for
110%.
Superman. If
Oh,
you
no,
could just
man.
somehow infuse those,
And the best Superman comics are never the one where he's whooping someone's
No.
butt the whole
No,
time. They're
no.
always the ones like Grant Morrison's All Star Superman.
yeah,
he
oh,
fights
that's
like
the best
twice
Superman
in
of
that,
all
and it's the
time.
best story.
Well, we were even
Ever.
talking about it at the end of Deceased, when you get Superman's son. Superman is not long gone. He's actually in the sun right now. They had to shoot him to the sun because they had nowhere to put him. Imagine a zombie infected Superman. You can't stop him, so they shift him off to the sun, not thinking that's
It's gonna give him strength.
it's going to give him strength. So anyway, you get is it Jonathan Kent
Jonathan Kent.
is Superman at the time, and he's in front of Trigon, and Trigon's
Weird.
like, "Who are you? Like, I am the god of the underworld. Blah 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 blah. You are nothing but a speck." And he's like, "Yeah," and this speck said stop. And it's just like the most Superman thing ever. I love Superman, but there's just no comparison.
And he hits him in the chest and knocks him back. Oh, the finale for Deceased was great.
It was good.
And
It's really
it
good.
makes me want to
I
see
gotta read
Tom Taylor write Superman.
Yeah,
Because-
that'd be dope.
if you get a chance, bro, really try and catch up on that, because Deceased made a turn 2 issues ago that we were talking about with like Constantine's whole story. He's the complete MVP of this whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll get on it.
It's really good. It's
Cool.
really good, guys. If you can catch that, catch that.
So we just talked about a little bit of looking back and reflecting on some comparisons between those two universes.
Mhm.
Looking ahead for Plus, we have I guess a developing situation with Black Widow.
Got pushed
Are we
back.
going to see Natasha on the big screen? Or are we going to end up seeing her on the Plus on the couch?
From the couch, kicking, pressing play? I don't think I would go see it in the movies if it does release. I think the smartest thing to do now is just to release it on the Plus.
Yeah.
It's gotten pushed back now way more than New Mutants, so
Because I'm
Yeah.
not even sure why it's getting pushed back at this point.
because there's something in that movie. Taskmaster is somebody.
hmm
It's either another version of Natasha that didn't die and it's connected into the timeline. It's something that's connecting to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's something important that they're trying to hold off on, and they want us to all go to the movies to see. I'm certain the fact that Taskmaster is somebody we know. Maybe a different timeline version of somebody we know, but there is no reason they need to be hiding this for so long.
Yeah, I agree.
There's like what we all agreed on this, that the Black Widow movie would be a ordinary kind of whatever movie. Yeah, we'll go watch it so we can go to the movies.
It's going to be kind of like a Mission Impossible film.
right.
Yep.
Like a spy,
Yeah.
Origin story. But why are they so pressed on pushing it back so much? Why does it need to release maybe closer towards Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Because they want it to tie
I
in.
think it's because of maybe the post-credit scenes. I mean,
Something.
maybe the post-credit scenes
Can you
give you
just
clues about what's going to happen with Falcon and Winter Soldier series.
Right. We know that Cap might be coming back in some kind of
Wait,
sort.
Yeah, he just some source confirmed that he's reprising
Yeah,
Captain America.
He'll be back.
Which is anyone surprised about that?
No,
Yeah.
of course not. It's
Not
comic
really.
books.
I think
They all come back.
They all come back.
we'll see. I think what we have going into the future, whether it be when we were talking about the comic book service with DC, or being all movies coming out on the Plus, we don't know how the times are going to be, nowadays, guys.
That's true.
So I think the easiest thing for them to do, they probably are going to miss out on some money. Shoot it over to a streaming service, and it sucks.
Right. Well, we were worried about last summer with missing out on all these blockbuster films.
Yeah.
And now it looks like we're going to be going into this summer waiting on some blockbuster
Oh, yeah.
films and some stuff that eventually they just got to release it.
Yeah, I think they're gonna wait till Black Widow, till theaters are gonna start to open up again. I really think they're gonna try and within these next 6 months, if the virus does what some people are trying to get it to do and go down, and we see numbers going down, more people getting vaccinated, all these things, I think we're gonna see theaters open up, and that'll be a prime opportunity for studios to go, okay, we can finally put our movies back out. I mean,
Yeah.
how many times has James Bond and MGM had to push back
It was
No
ready
Time to
come
Die?
out.
I mean, it was supposed to come out in November, pushed it back. Then they pushed it back to April, didn't happen. And then they pushed it back to next November. Didn't happen.
Didn't Netflix get it?
I think the negotiations are broken off because
Oh.
now
Yeah.
they don't know what's going to happen
No,
as
so
far as
these-
theater availability.
These
and-
guys want to hold everything close to the chest
Sure.
till theaters are open again. And once theaters are open again, they'll release it and they'll probably make bank off of it. Certainly not the numbers that they would like, but definitely more than the numbers of a new streaming, someone coming on and subscribing new for the first time or anything, because that's where they're going to lose money. Is
Yeah,
a
it
lot of people
sucks.
already have Disney Plus, and a lot of people already have Netflix. So at this point, as far as it making any money and bringing back revenue, it would be through people subscribing new for the first
New
time.
platforms.
And
Yeah.
I don't know what the numbers of Mulan did, but I know Mulan was a $200 million movie, and they made nowhere near with the
No.
$30 like.
We call it around
Put it on
this
the
table.
plus.
We call it the tenant effect. You know,
Mhm.
$800 million budget. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what it costs to make Tenet. Do you think even now they made 800 million?
No, of course
No.
not.
You know, and it sucks.
So they're gonna try and get as much bang for their buck, and I don't know that new subscriptions on a streaming platform is gonna do it for them.
Me neither.
Okay, so we wanted to talk really quick about something that's gonna be coming up the next couple of weeks. We've been mentioning series that are being put out by this publisher, and we wanted to make sure that we give it credit where credit's due.
Absolutely.
And we're speaking about, of course, about Boom Studios.
Boom!
They put
Boom!
out titles like Something is Killing the Children. They put out titles like We Only Find Them When They're Dead, Seven Secrets. Okay, Once and Future. Boom Studios is here to stay. It's a big publication.
Powerhouse.
They're ridiculous. They've got all kinds of momentum behind them. There's a new miniseries, it seems, or series coming out every couple of weeks.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. And on
Same.
February 3rd, we're gonna donate. We're gonna dedicate. Or we'll donate.
a video.
We'll donate the
We're gonna-
entire
We're going to
studio.
donate this time. We're going to dedicate a whole episode to Boom Studios. We're going to
Boom.
be talking all about Boom Studios and a lot of their different titles. That's going to be our Show Us Your Booms night. Booms.
Show us your booms.
Show us your
Booms.
booms night. We're
Hashtag
going to
show
be
us your
talking
booms.
about Boom Studios in particular.
I like it.
And all those different titles that we've been reading. Donovan is getting caught up on Something Is Killing the Children.
Oh, it's so
Yeah,
good.
we've been talking about that from the almost day one of the show, and it's taken a lot of time for people to kind of get used to the fact that there's stories out there and there's comics out there that have nothing to do with superheroes.
Yes, please.
You know what I
Go
mean?
And find those
There's
independent
there's
writers.
stories out there that you can watch. A lot of people are like, all right, the capes and stuff is a little bit corny. What about like sci-fi mystery or crime and all that kind of stuff? So there is a lot
Or
of
a
stuff.
horror series
Or
where
a horror
monsters
series.
eat children.
Yeah.
Yes. So Boom Studios is
And it's
a
good.
perfect example. I've been fan since I've picked up a book, and it's, I don't know, man. I'm excited for us to talk about our next show.
The way I would describe Boom Studios, and I just finished Something's Killing the Children Volume 2. Thank you, Frank. Is a breath of fresh air for comic book readers. It's
Yep.
it's
It's
totally
perfect.
different. The stories are great. There's no continuity. It's a blank slate.
Right,
with
you can
these
pick up the
incredibly-
book and be
incredible
fine.
stories, and it's so good.
So guys, show us your booms. Hashtag. We're gonna be doing a lot. I'm stoked for this one. Yeah, guys.
February 3rd, Show Us Your Booms. We'll be talking all about Boom Studios on that episode.
Boom.
We're looking forward to that. Next week, we'll get a little bit more into Future State.
Okay.
We'll have all kinds of reactions and probably a whole different round of theories as to what's happening with WandaVision. Maybe they'll do a Mork and Mindy episode tonight. There's a Mork
interesting.
and Mindy episode.
Yeah, if anybody's staying up at midnight, hit us up on the Instagram. We're going to be talking about it. At least a couple of us will be awake. At least me and Paul will be
Yes,
awake. I don't know
we
about
will.
you guys.
I'll probably be. I'll
If you
take a
guys
nap.
have any questions or
I'll
want
be
to
in
talk about
bed.
anything, hit us up Into the West Comics on IG.
Boom.
Follow us.
Paul,
Yeah.
what do you want to say about Christopher Nolan, or just say?
I want to say that please call me. I love you. Like, subscribe, check out Boom Studios. Boom, show us your booms on the 3rd, and yeah, do the thing.
What you got, D?
I love you too, Chris Nolan. Just not a fan of Dunkirk.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh, I
This is going to be a
disagree.
whole nother talk after we get out of
Paul
here.
just got emotional.
I did.
Guys, make sure that you do comment, like, and subscribe. We want to know what you think about all the stuff about WandaVision. Tell us what you're thinking about Future State so far, what you're thinking about The King in Black, and what your favorite title is from Boom Studios.
Ooh, that was my goodbye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You took that from me. I think, yeah, tell us what your favorite title is. What episode would you like us to talk about a certain topic? If you got something for us, let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe. We really appreciate all the love. Next time, boys.
Boom.
Later, guys.
Yeah.
Peace.